So, how are you doing today, guys?
Very well, thank you.
You're doing good.
Great
You're doing
first
good.
question.
That's a
great
perfect
great
first question.
It's
Actually,
amazing.
I prefer to always ask how people are, just so you know the energy, how it's feeling, and things like that. But I would like to talk to you guys a little bit about getting into property as a young person.
Yeah, I can't do no small talk, no small talk. I'm not with the small talk. Can't be with the small talk.
We're under the impression that property is hard to get into, it's expensive, and all these other factors. But we'll start with you, Winston. How was it for you, like just getting into it? Did you have all these anxieties because of the misconceptions we have?
Yeah, most definitely. I think it was overwhelming. I think most of the guys that I worked with when I started would intimidate, like I would feel intimidated by them, but I think my mind is always in the right place, and I think I was very confident to take it on and just put all that noise aside, and just maneuvering, and I think it worked out pretty well.
And then for you, was it kind of a similar experience or a little bit different?
Yeah, I think it was one of those situations where I think this is why it's attracting a lot of young people is the moment you get into this type of industry, the moment you see how much exposure you get, not even just as a factor for property and getting further into it, but you become everything. You aren't just one thing, and the exposure on you is immense. You get so much knowledge, you get so much input. It's almost a no-brainer, especially with having a good support system. Having good mentors, having a team you can trust. That is the cherry on the cake at the end of the day.
Wow.
So, yeah, it became a bigger journey, I think, at the end of the day than what we initially had
expecting it to be.
100%.
From what I understand, Libertalia is kind of broken up into three sections. You've got the property side, you've got the finance side, and you've obviously got the education side.
Correct.
I'm very, very passionate about connecting the youth to their passions, because it's very rare that you find someone that straight out of high school, they know exactly what they want to do. They know exactly that this is the kind of career I want to get into.
Yeah.
And with educational programs and courses and stuff like that, with your one, how would you say someone could benefit from discovering that it is for me, it's not for me? I mean, you've spoken about how you guys created that program because of the challenges you faced starting up.
Correct.
So beyond just the challenges that you guys faced, what are some of the other things that one would come across getting into your course?
You want to take it?
I'll take
You
that.
lead it. I'll finish.
So basically, how it's got a storyline to it. So we started with property, just a simple basic training, right? So we were privileged because we had mentors, like I was saying, and majority of the people that join the industry are just thrown in the bush, and you have to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, it's a sink or swim situation.
So which is what then the idea of us even coming up with the courses was mostly for how do we incorporate mentorship and information, the type of training that we have, the internal training, how do we package that in a way that someone comes in, and it comes with a lot of skills, right? There's budgeting skills, there's time management skills, organizational skills. Some of the activities help you for a lot of procrastination. It's just a lot of personal development. So we've incorporated all of that as well into the courses, which is what real estate is about. Yeah, it's just personal development. The more valuable you are as a person, your time management, your organizational skills, you name it, the most likely you're going to succeed as well in the industry.
I think I see it that way as well. I mean, we look at certain careers, entrepreneurial routes especially, and you think after I start, I'm just going to relax and everything is going to be perfect and everything is going to be great. But along the journey, there's still some things that you learn. Would you say today you're finding some of the stuff you're learning in your property journey a little more difficult than in the past? Like sometimes, you look back, you're like, I wish I was still in high school. I had better problems. I had like easier, like now crying about who my matric dance date is going to be is not the same as now I'm trying to think of who my life partner is going to be, kind of. Is that the same? Would you say that's the case for you guys?
I I wouldn't say so. At least not in the face value like that, right? I think a good thing, even to look at with our course, is something that a lot of people don't look at is being a property practitioner. It's more than just a career role, right? At the end of the day, you're a business owner. Like, I remember someone saying to me that, oh no, you're lucky because you can get up and do whatever you want. But with that said, it's easy to fall down a slip. I don't need to do this that day. I don't need to do that. Like, you follow the same structure as a business owner, right? And with that comes a lot of curveballs. It comes with a lot of difficult things. And we're having this discussion driving here, like, what makes entrepreneurs a lot more different? What makes us run towards the challenge, except like instead of retreating? What's the difference? For me, it's never, I will take this over the challenges that I faced in my younger years any day, because this is something that you get up, you sort it out. You get it up, you figure out what you need to do. Where do we go from here? You have the independence to now make that step, versus in high school I failed a math exam, I'm failing the year, whatever it might be, right? Like, I don't know if you were ever in that position. Like, I know for myself, I was never an amazing student, right? So at the end, and I know a lot of people will feel the same, when you get your marks, what do I do differently? You can't. But if I get told now that, okay, this is a problem we need to face now, I can sit with it for 10 minutes, find a solution, and move forward. That's it. It's not,
instead of having to come back to it.
And we have all of our team are seemingly like that. When they come to us and, okay, this is an issue with the client, here, there, whatever, right? It's okay, well, let's find a solution for it. It's not, okay, let's take our hands off the wheel. No, we'll find a solution until the situation is done. Full stop. It's not a question. Versus in school or whatever, it's like, oh, you failed the year. Like, what are you going to do, you know?
What I'm interested about is your guys' working dynamic as the two of you. Now, we know Winston is, of course, the group exec, and we also know that you are the managing director and the co-founder of Libertalia. What is your guys' working relationship like in terms of, okay, can you call Winston anytime? Is that partnership like hectically? I feel like it is. Like, I can see the bands. It feels like you guys are like each other's halves. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a left foot and a right foot.
That's a fantastic way to put it.
Really?
I mean, we, I always make the joke, excuse the pun, but Kyle and I are married in community of property. So Kyle knows me so well, I know him so well. I think that helps a lot when we have to deal with certain situations. I mean, there are times where we know a specific situation will require the type of personality that Kyle is. We know that he would be the one to run with that typical situation, right? Same way, if if it requires maybe a bit of my personality to come in, I would run with that. So just a practical example, like when it comes to external stuff and networking, Kyle's the one that he's there, he's talking, but Winston, how do we have access to that, the client? So he knows. Just throw me in there, we'll sort it out. Similarly, okay, there's a conversation that's happening about technology or something related to something that maybe a developer might want to develop. I wouldn't jump into that conversation because he's very, very clued up with that. So we would throw him in there. So we don't plan things. It just comes naturally because we know each other so well. And I think we respect each other a lot. We value each other's opinions. I'm a great listener. He's a great listener. I think that also helps a lot with just running the company as two young, driven individuals.
I think if you look at it, it's like life is never like black and white. It's never just surface level stuff. Like with networking events, I might not. That's not my niche. But Winston can drive into that. Wow. So it's like that front end that we need to push that. But I'm the back end. We'll make sure that the backend systems are there. Whatever intricate details we need to get sorted, we'll have them. So I think that's one of the most proud things I am, having a partner that we pick it up. We pick up where we need to. It's not that black and white. We need a mental break. Cool, do it. We'll sort out for a week. when you're ready, we're back on it. So, and I think as young people, that's something that we have, that self-awareness to say, okay, what do we need to do?
Yes.
What do we need to do to get this done? And the
who's the best person to do
little
it?
little niches in between it. So that's exactly how to put it. It's one half and another half. It's where that one lacks.
This
Someone
one picks
yeah,
up.
100%.
It makes perfect sense. I mean, there's so many little cogs that make the bigger machine work. That's how any company works, any partnership works.
Yes.
All these little things that come together to make this one great picture.
Yeah.
But now I want to talk to you, especially for, as a young person coming into the workforce, and now I'm starting to think about, I need to invest and put my money into this. And there's all these different trends and some would say scams going around about where to put your money. Do I do it in cryptocurrency? Do I do it with property? All these different things. How does a young person make that decision? And is there a singular decision?
Interesting. So some of the models and systems in that industry do work. They work for many different people. But at the same time, there are just people that take advantage of the systems and they would go and sell, maybe unaccredited courses on Forex or something like that and just make money off people. So I think that's what makes it difficult, even just for a consumer's perspective of, this is the type of industry I wouldn't go into because there's so many scams. But I think when it comes to property, it's quite different. So property is basically a roof over your head, right?
Yes.
Whether you are, just look at an individual, a household, right? Let's say there's a baby that's born right at the hospital. That's property. They have to move into getting to their first grade at school. That's property.
That's property as well.
They move to university. That's property. You get a job. That's property. You name it. You can go on and on and on and on. So there are many benefits when you in this industry as a property practitioner, especially because you get to know so many things, and not to just break that down into, but why is property so valuable is because we have a high population. Urbanization is the drive for any emerging economy. There will always be buildings. There will always be a demand for property. So getting into property, the first thing you need to do is take courses, take mentorship courses, take not just promoting our courses, but take as many courses as you can.
Take that leap. Yeah.
Exactly, because then it will show you where the money is in property, and then when you start applying, the activities around that, and you start, because I've acquired a number of properties, but I did make mistakes on my first property. Was like I'm excited, I'm gonna buy a property. I got a credit score. I've got access to the database because I'm a real estate agent. So, it's like, but I didn't do my calculations in terms of my ROI. I was just more excited about owning a property and having a tenant in there, but I didn't necessarily think about the valuation, the interest rates, things like that I think a lot of people miss along the journey. And you get people that will buy a property and realize that, maybe this was a mistake. My tenant is not paying on time, or, you can go on and on, but there are ways to mitigate those risks as well. You can get a credible tenant, someone that can pay, a long-term tenant, things like that. So I think, this is just my opinion on it is, when you get into something, the education is important, and make sure that you vet, check if it's accredited, check if this person is a licensed individual, check their, we're privileged to be here at 5FM, so that tells you something, these people are reputable and we can trust them. I think essentially that's how I would answer that question.
Real estate is like simply complex.
Complex.
Get a notepad, write down what you need, and have a conversation.
See, the thing is now, the noun is still complex. It's simply complex. It's not complex, it's simple. It's simply complex.
It's like in face value. It's like it's a property, right? Face value. Get a property in.
It's a house.
So, you work out your payments, get a tenant in.
Simple.
But but I think having Winston's got a point. Educate yourself. Have a conversation with the qualified agent. Just figure it out. Get the numbers in front of you. Calculate and run those numbers and see. Okay, well, what's profitable at the end of the day.
Wow. It's a lot, man. I mean, what also caught my attention when I was looking through, the companies, everything, I was really excited to hear that you guys got the Global Brand Awards, fastest growing marketing, real estate marketing brand. So how important would you say is the marketing of your thing? How important is that?
What's funny is I think when we started, it was no other agency was pushing marketing as hard as we were. Everyone was happy with their brand. They were sorted. That's it. They had nothing to fight for. They're on the top. But when we started, we saw a gap in like kind of that digital sphere. So starting off and saying, okay, well, we want to empower the youth. How do we get to the youth? No young person's reading a newspaper. Unironically, okay, in defense, okay. So why not use the tools that we have? So building a brand, building how we move forward, and seeing what we can do with that. That's already something that we're doing now. That was already something we do as individuals on Instagram and whatever. So I think brand nowadays, if you don't have a brand, you don't have a company. To establish something, you need a brand. You need something to link with. You need to have go into those in depths of color schemes and fonts and this and what do you like? What do they like? And it's simple, but it's complex because you have so many layers of what is good marketing, what is obtainable in our sphere now. What can we get done without the marketing budget of like Coca-Cola or something, right? But I think, and we were chatting about it on the way here, I think we were extremely stubborn. Like, regardless of whatever budget we've had, we've made it work.
You have to.
Regardless, at the end of the day, everything's kind of free. If you kind of think about it, like Instagram,
to make it kind of free.
Find software that works, find this that works, your platforms that works. And that's the thing that I love speaking to young people about is, if you have a plan, like sit down, write it down, sort it out. Come up with the brand, come up with the idea, come up with your approaches, and let's move forward from there. You don't need R1 million in your bank account.
Exactly.
You don't need that. Just find what need you need, create an image for that need, create a name for that need, and work from there.
Wow.
So brand, I think, is massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
And I think just to add on to what Carl is saying, and it also goes back to the question you asked in the beginning, with like the youth thinking it's such a difficult industry, how do I get in? So we've created an opportunity around that. So we've brought in I think we're sitting on 40 agents now, property practitioners licensed, and they're all youth below 30. You've got guys that came right from high school with no work experience. And just the drive to work. So they've been given the resources. And if you ask me what makes our brand so powerful, is the fact that we understand that like the power in digital media. So every one of these agents have access to social media, right? And they use social media as the tool for them to get into the market and present themselves. It's so important that we win things like global brands, largest marketing agency, because then they're able to take that profile and go into clients or developers and homeowners and say, look, we're young, but we're there, we're visible.
Yeah, it gives them the
give us
firepower.
opportunity to sell properties. And I think that's what's helped with all of these recognitions as well.
I agree.
I mean, you spoke briefly about how, networking is a part of what you do. And we know that in real estate, whenever it comes to things like showing a house or whatever it is, your people skills need to be on point all the time.
Yes.
So you're always meeting people. How many doors did you guys have to knock on before you could see that Libertad is about to be a real beast?
It's for me, it's the horse blinders, right? Like you never, because we're working in it so much, You never really see what you've been able to achieve. You never really see it because you are so focused on this one goal of, I'm going to get there. I don't care what happens outside. I don't care. I'm glad we achieved this. Good. Because that's what we know we're working on it. If we didn't achieve it, then that's the problem.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's not from a leader's perspective. I feel like it's the result of our team. You know, seeing our guys straight out of high school, starting uni, some of them leaving uni because they're making more money doing real estate than maybe they were unsure about doing uni. And that for me was the ticking point of, okay, like, we're doing what we need to do. And that's it. We're empowering the youth. And that was the pure value of empowering the youth within South Africa. Making sure that what we learn, we provide back. Whatever lesson we've come to, whatever failure we've had, we've been able to take that, say, okay, we're not going to sugarcoat it. This is what we failed at. Don't do this. I think sharing your failures and impacting lives as a leader is a lot more. It hits closer to home.
It does.
Than,
it has a bigger effect.
Yeah, I don't know about you. I don't know what.
No, definitely.
What your ticking point was.
Yeah, no. I must say we've had to knock
A lot.
a lot, but I think that always came with a special, like, we've kind of accumulated a lot of great relationships across the industry. Like, I mean, when I started as a PA, like, from get-go, the principal for Pam Golding already liked me. So he moved me from being a PA to being an independent intern estate agent, right? And I built a relationship with him. You know, not just me. I mean, Carl is one of my business partners, just as valuable. He's built certain relationships because what we do, especially for the youth, just speaking about the youth in general, is when you come into a space, you need to prove that you're valuable. So you need to work the extra mile. And I think that's what's helped with knocking through doors. It's this is what we've done. And this is something that we've always emphasized on from the beginning is every win that we get, we need to record it. We need to document it, because going into those doors, you know, getting to work with Baldwin Properties, because they've had to look at our profile. And that's what speaks for itself. It's very difficult, especially for the guys, the big guys there, you know, like Brooks, who you just sit in the table with him and you tell him, this is what I can do for you. That conversation is different as compared to you showing him what you've done before and asking him what value he could expect from you, you know. So I think that's helped us a lot with the relationships. But we've definitely had a lot of no's. We've knocked and we've had a lot of no's.
They say that's kind of the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they must continue to say no.
They must continue to say no.
Yeah, Carl's always like
that.
They must continue.
Out of war.
Yeah,
I love it. He wakes up and he chooses violence.
Yeah, he's like,
I think the youth has to be aggressive. You know, we have a lot to fight for.
That's true.
You know, we have a lot to prove. Why should people trust you with their most expensive asset?
Exactly.
Or why shouldn't they? Like
that risk. You know, I feel like a lot of people categorize Gen Zs and some millennials kind of almost as chain breakers. A lot of Gen Zs are the first in their family to do this or to go that route or to make $1 million in the family. They're the first one to do those things. Don't you think that kind of pressure that we are applying on ourselves as Gen Zs could be detrimental to kind of what results we end up getting, like setting that goal so far and then when you don't land where you want to go, won't that kind of deter you, demotivate you? Now you've got all your peers also gunning for the big things, gunning for big companies and awards and all these different things. Don't you think that's going to affect our generation's mental state at some point?
I think it already is, you know, but I think you got to know how far you can fall and how high you can reach. If you don't do anything, you continue to fall. And it breaks it down to the person, right? Are you going to be happy continue falling realistically? Is that what you're going to be happy with? Or are you going to try do something? Not saying you need to go start a real estate. Not saying that. What I'm saying is, you're living in that. Where can I be if I stay here, and where am I going to be if I try? If I miss, then I get it. Let's try to pick ourselves up. And I get we're all facing. I think I'm sure our generations is the ones that's facing a lot of mental turmoil, and that just proves to me that we need to be there for each other. Like, surround yourself with people that have done it, that are doing it, and talk and share what you want, what you're going through, because it's not easy. If you look at our age, you look at what we've achieved, it's not. But is anything really easy? If you sit there and you continue falling, is that easy? No, it's not. So might as well get up, get on with it, do it.
To put it simply.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I
Get
think-
on with it.
Yeah.
But I was, like, as much as social media is such a powerful tool, I think it answers what you just asked. I think social media it can be deadly, but it can also be resourceful, right?
Yeah.
So I think as a generation, we need to be very careful with our decision making. We need to really, really instill a lot of management principles, because you get caught, even myself, sometimes I'll just want to go, but I really check up on myself, maybe I should go take a hike, maybe I should see therapy. But I'm so, as much as that's generally who I am anyways, I'm always like, what's next, and I've lived my lifestyle, for that long. But if you had to ask me emotionally, how am I doing, I wouldn't be able to answer you.
No.
'Cause
Yeah,
I don't know
I
either.
haven't checked, man. I haven't
You know.
checked.
Most
So-
people should go to therapy, I think.
For sure. I
Like,
think especially young people now.
Oh.
Post-COVID,
Yeah.
everyone needs some form of therapy.
I think that if you go to therapy, right, I think it will help you. Not only, let's say now, like you as a young person go to therapy now, I think it not only helps you work through what you want, but it will have a chain reaction. Your friend might have an issue, and you're no longer like, you know what, no, yeah, you get him, no. You stop, you listen, because you have had someone show you what you needed in that space. And it has a chain reaction. You start then doing it to your kids later on. You're no longer gunning your kids down for something. You stop, you listen, you understand. So I think it's not easy. I think it's a whole conversation in itself, having mental health talk. But I think surrounding yourself with people that you can talk to, even if it doesn't have to be a long conversation. Just, hey, I'm not doing good. Like that is good.
Awesome stuff. I think those are perfect sentiments to close this off with. It's been an absolutely amazing chat. Just had a beautiful one with Thembisa Kunene as well as Kyle McKay. They are a part of Libertalia, and I think it's amazing that we get to sit down with such amazing people, young people that are not only following their passions but kind of spreading the knowledge on how the rest of the youth can follow theirs and how to feel fulfilled in the passions that we follow. Stay tuned for more 5 Unscripted episodes. Yonaka Theledi is my name. 5 weekend afternoons doing the news. That's where you can catch me. Stay safe.
Yeah, I can't do no small talk, no small talk. I'm not with the small talk. Can't be with the small talk.